Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special Fight and Focus here on FITE. I'm Josh Shernoff, and I am joined now by the alpha female. That's right. I've got the alpha female here, Jazzy Gabert, and I apologize for the fact that I can't pronounce your name as nicely as you do, but we are here to talk about serious sports entertainment, and I'm going to let you tell everyone it's wrestling from
Balingen, but you say it perfect. Yeah,
Balingen, I got it.
My name perfect and everything fine. Awesome.
So welcome to Fight and Focus.
Hello.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
So obviously February 20th, we have this big event coming to us here on FITE. It's actually going to be coming to us here in the U.S. Eastern time at 11:30 a.m. Because of the fun time differences we have. But it's wonderful to be able to bring this event. Where exactly is this event coming from?
Well, Germany, and it's near Stuttgart, so it's more like near south. And yeah, it's from Germany, and I will be everywhere in Germany, hopefully soon. Like, if you guys support me, if you watch this event, if you're just as excited as I am, it's my first show. That's why it's called The Big Bang.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I want to get into this whole thing because you have a very successful wrestling career behind you. So, yes, this is your first show, but this is by no means your first taste of professional wrestling, to say the least. So can you take our viewers now that are watching this, that are kind of curious of what serious sports entertainment, serious wrestling is, but let's first introduce you to an audience that might not be familiar with your work.
So yeah, hi, my name is Jazzy Gabert, and I'm a pro wrestler since 20 years. I started in 2001 in Germany in front of 20 people for the GWF. And then I made my way around. Like, we wrestled a lot in whole Europe, like mostly in France. And then 2010, I decided to go to London because, you know, in the UK, wrestling is so much bigger in Europe. And then a talent scout found me, and I was able to go to Japan. And I worked for Stardom, and I became the first and long time the only European who can win a Japanese championship. So that was like a big deal.
Yeah.
Then I made a little stint to TNA Impact Wrestling. I had like a little, like sequences with Chris Sabin and Velvet Sky. So that was really interesting. And then again, I went to Japan again. I was there for a pretty long time, and I really enjoyed my time there. And then when my time was over, my visa was over, I went into the MMA business, and I had 2 professional MMA fights till WWE caught me. First, I was part of the Mae Young Classic, where I really got the huge reaction from the fans. And then I joined NXT UK. And now I thought I'm doing my own thing.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the Mae Young Classic, because I think while NXT UK is also available, in the US for people to watch it, I think the Mae Young Classic is probably when that and maybe Impact Wrestling, but specifically your performance in the Mae Young Classic, I think is when a lot of the US fans really took notice of who you were. So you say you're doing your own thing. So what made you decide to become a promoter? Because, I mean, so many, look, every wrestler in a locker room believes they can be a promoter as well, but as I don't have to tell you, there are a lot of challenges that go along with that. So what made you say, hey, I'm going to jump into doing this, and I want to take on all this responsibility and all these challenges? Because it's a completely different mindset than just going in there as one of the performers. So what caused you to want to do this?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, this journey is so crazy. But yeah, there are many reasons why I want to be a promoter. First of all, I was just like all the boys and girls. I was sitting backstage and were complaining in my head about things that didn't went right. And I was like, man, when I will be a promoter, I can do this much better. So now I have to prove it to myself and to everybody. And yeah, like, now I'm kind of old, like I'm getting older, and for females it's not that easy, like I'm 39 now, and there's a certain time when girls have to step back from the ring. When they're older, like 80 or 90, like the Mae Young, then I
Yeah.
can come
Then
back,
you can come back, right?
Uh, but in between, I have to do something.
Is,
So there were many reasons.
isn't
But
it
yeah,
fascinating
being a
though?
promoter,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just want to say, isn't it
okay.
fascinating in sports in general? Pro wrestling is not excluded from this at all. Sports in
Mm,
general, that 39 is old. Like in
yeah,
the real world, 39 is no, and maybe I'm just saying this because I'm 38, but 39 is nowhere near old
yeah,
in the world outside of sports. But in sports,
absolutely.
man, they look at it a whole whole different way. Um,
Yeah, I mean, look at WWE back in the days, like they didn't want to sign anyone over 30.
yeah,
And even in Japan, with 30, I was considered old. They wanted only the young girls. So I
unbelievable.
was like, man, my time is ticking. And also, I believe to give back something. And
Mhm.
I traveled the world. I had such amazing time in the wrestling world. So now for me it's time to give something back. And this is why I created Zerier Sports Entertainment.
So, all right, you've created this event. This is the first event, as you said, it's Big
Hmm.
Bang. This is the first one that you're putting on here, and of course, it will be on FITE on February 20th at
Hmm.
11:30 a.m. Eastern time here in the U.S. Uh,
Yeah,
what did you? So, I have a couple questions about just because I,
sure.
I love the idea of you going from being an in-ring wrestler to becoming a promoter. You said before that you'd have to convince yourself now that you actually could do all of these things that, you used to sit back and say, oh, I could do that better. I could do that better. So
Yeah.
can you give me an example? What's something when you start out with this, you said, okay, this is something I'm definitely doing on this show because
Mm.
of my past experiences.
Mm.
This is something that I know is important to me that gets done on this show.
I have so many things, and I understand other promoters why they can't do it. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I wanted to do it different, so I made an extra effort. The pay, like I hate the
There you
pay;
go.
it's so low. Like
Mm-hmm.
for my, like I don't want to go too much into details, right? But I don't have like a certain amount. I don't want to go under. Like I don't think it's fair. The
Sure.
workers, like the wrestlers, they train every day in the gym. They buy all these supplements, and they're all expensive. They invest in their gear, and they travel so much, so they should be rewarded. Um,
That's great.
and then hotels. Oh my God, how often does promoters let them sleep on a couch at their house or even send them back or let them sleep in the car? Happened to me many times. And I think that's not fair. That's not healthy. It's, yeah, not safe. Like
Mm-hmm.
some promoters wanted to send me back in the middle of the night just because it's cheaper. And I will never ever do that. Not to the girls and not to the boys. Like even we can defend ourselves. But if there's some guy who wants some bad things to us, like there's
Sure.
no chance, right? So pay, hotel, and also travel. Like I know it's normal for us wrestlers to travel like 10 hours to a show, wrestle there 5 minutes, and then travel 10 hours back.
Yep.
And it's the old way, paying your dues and everything, but it's not healthy. And it's not, I don't know, like I don't like it. And I want to give my boys and girls who work for me, I want to give them just better conditions.
Wow.
Um, Also, catering. I know it's expensive, but come on, give the boys and girls something to eat. If you pay them so little money, come on. So yeah, as you see, there's some things I want to do different. Also, this is why I called it sports entertainment and not wrestling. I like to present the characters as characters. Like
Mm-hmm.
if they go to the ring, people will identify with them. So the entrances will be much bigger and more, yeah, more outstanding.
There are two things that I want to touch on from that I absolutely
Yeah.
love. I'll start with the one that's less important, but
Hmm.
still great, and that's the
The
sports
food.
entertainment aspect because I wanted to ask you about that. So many people nowadays, to differentiate themselves from the big bad WWE, right? The
Mm.
biggest thing out there. They differentiate themselves and they very proudly say, "This is pro wrestling. This isn't sports entertainment. It's pro wrestling." So when I
Mm-hmm.
saw Sirius Sports Entertainment, that stood out to me. I thought that's really interesting that someone is choosing not to vilify the term sports entertainment and instead celebrate what that is and what that means and all the positives that can come from sports
Mm-hmm.
entertainment. Because to me, as somebody who grew up with the WWF, in the 80s and the 90s, I look back very fondly on sports entertainment. I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who grew up with a much grittier wrestling based, show that they might not feel the same way, but I love the fact you did it. So I understand you're going with sports entertainment because you want the characters to be perceived a certain way. You want to have a heavy focus on the character work. But what made you decide? Because you could have done that and said serious pro wrestling and put that
Mm-hmm.
focus on the character work. So what made you decide to say sports entertainment in a time when I don't have to tell you, I mean, I already did, but I don't have to tell you
Yeah.
that sports entertainment people really look at it as like, oh, if you're cool, you're pro wrestling,
Mm.
What was your mindset with that?
Yeah, there's two more reasons. Like, for example, in my show, there's not just wrestling. We will have live music, or like back in the days, the WCW, they had
Mhm.
like these sexy Nitro girls. I'm going to have them.
Awesome. Okay.
So that's like really entertaining, right? It's not just wrestling. But also here in Germany, the term wrestling has a really bad reputation. So, for
Really?
example, when I called the venue and I asked, because it's a special venue also, so when I called the venue and said, hey, can I come there and put some sports entertainment on, it said in my email address German wrestling. So they said no because it has a bad reputation. Like
Wow.
wrestling is not cool in Germany. Everybody's laughing about wrestling, like we talked about 10 years before when I came into the mainstream media, they always made fun of me. Now, like
Hmm.
10 years later, and just recently, they have more respect for me because I speak open about what is wrestling. It's predetermined, and
Hmm.
it's show. And that's why I choose sports entertainment because wrestling has a bad reputation here in Germany, and I want to focus on the German market.
That's so interesting. The other thing that I had wanted to talk to you about, which is even more important, um, when somebody would say, and I was curious what your answer would be, and I'm so pleased with what it is, and I think anybody watching this, especially anybody who has ever been in the ring before, will really be pleased with this as well. But what you were talking about, the differences when you answered my question of what you would do differently. I wasn't sure if the answer was going to be geared towards a lot of the times people sit back and they want to play booker as opposed to promoter. So they want to play, they want to look in and say, oh, I'd push this guy or I'd give myself this or I do whatever it is. What I love about your answer was your answer of what you do differently was really not about what's going on in the ring at all. It was very much about taking care of the talent. And it's really a mindset that a lot of promoters can't have because they've never experienced what you've experienced. And I think that you're setting yourself up. Obviously, we're here to promote a show that I think fans are going to love, but I think also you're setting yourself up to be a place where the wrestlers want to come work. And I think that is so
Hopefully.
valuable. I mean, I would, you know, right off the bat, all the things that you mentioned go, oh, I don't have to, I don't have to leave in the middle of the night and drive 10 hours.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think I think that's great what you're doing.
But like fun story, like you won't believe it. Nobody won't believe it. But putting together the card was for me the hardest thing to do. It was for me much easier to get the sponsors, to get the venue, to get the camera team, to get
Wow.
you guys. But the card was so difficult for me and I needed actually help. Like I called someone, I said, dude, I booked way too many wrestlers, so what do I do with them? And yeah, I think we have an amazing card. I think it will be brilliant. And I hope sooner or later, with my next shows and everything, that I will have more professional help with the card
Mhm.
because that's really not I like so much. Other
But
people love it, but not me.
again, and I think that speaks to what your answer was before about the mindset you had going into this. And as I said, there's the booker versus the promoter. And a lot of times
Hmm.
that's one and the same, but it's really great that you have the vision to know, hey, if I want this to work, because clearly it sounds like you are a tremendous promoter. Being it, because
Thank
that is
you.
not an easy thing to be able to get. I've been in those shoes before. That is not easy. Trying to get advertisers, trying to get sponsors for a show, and setting up the venue
Hmm.
and booking the talent. That is a lot of work. So it seems like that's something
Hmm.
you're very good at. And then you don't have the ego that so many people would have. You're willing to say, hey, okay, I'm gonna need a little help with booking the show, with getting
Absolutely.
figuring out what to do with the talent. And to me, that's so refreshing, and that makes me so much more excited for your show on the 20th, because
Awesome.
now right now you have somebody where you go, okay, they didn't just throw something together. Here's somebody who actually went out and said, I need help to make sure that this is the best it can be. So talk a little bit
Absolutely.
about the card, though. Tell us, who would you say the biggest names are? Who are some of the people that maybe we should really be keeping an eye out for? I'm assuming there's a lot
So
that we don't know in the U.S. that are
yeah,
pretty big.
absolutely. Like I have lots of German talents, not even the German knows about, and that's really sad because they're really good, and I believe they need the big stage to showcase themselves.
Hmm.
So again, I'm 20 years in this business. I traveled the world, and I saw a lot of great boys and girls. Of course, I saw also people outside of Germany, out in the US or in Japan, but because of the pandemic, I had to go a little bit smaller, but still I love the card I have. Like I have, yeah, that's like another thing I wanted, and I know that a lot of people will criticize me for that, but that's just my thing. I wanted to have big boys and sexy girls like back in the days, you know.
Yep.
So I have a lot of big boys. I have Drake the Destroyer against Carnage, you know, that will be my opener, and they will beat the hell out of each other, you know. And the fans who know who's going to watch me at the venue itself, I sold like 440 tickets already.
Wow.
They are mostly non-wrestling fans, so they will see wrestling the first time. So I want
Really?
to make an impact, right?
Now
And so
why?
I have these.
Oh no, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Continue. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
So yeah, that's why I have these big boys, because
Mhm.
for me it's important that the viewer, he don't want to mess with the wrestler who's in the ring, and I think
Sure.
that's a big problem these days. You know, like these days the viewer can beat up the fighters, right? And I want it different.
So, why was this? You're saying 400 something people that are not wrestling fans. Why?
Yes.
How did they end up becoming audience members for this show?
It ended up because, you know, where I live, and that's why I also choose the small city nobody knows about,
Mhm.
because I live here since 4 years and I'm kind of a celebrity here. So I was like in a dating show, and I was
Okay.
like on tour with a rock star, and people know me from, you know, from the newspaper and stuff, and they wanted to see me. They want to see me succeed, and that's why they're actually coming. And I have a lot of friends, so 400 actually. The 40
Wow.
fans are wrestling fans, but the 400 are like my friends.
That is a lot of friends,
Yeah.
especially this day and age. Not to just be on social media, but to actually be in person. Um, that is, you have an opportunity to create professional wrestling fans, sports entertainment. However, whatever term we're going to use here, you have the opportunity to create wrestling fans, and that's really cool. And then
Yeah.
you have to imagine there are a
Mhm.
number that are going to be coming as well that are fans already of the product.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see this show. And that's
Yeah,
something
my
too.
goal is, you know, like my goal is to go big time. Like
Hmm.
I want that, like back in the days, right? Like here in Germany, we had a great scene. Like it was called Catch as Catch Can,
Hmm.
and people like Dave Finlay, you know, Robbie
Yep.
Brookside, William Regal, Masahiro Chono. They all came to Hanover to the Schützenplatz, and they had like these huge tours. They went like 3 months every day wrestling. So it was huge in the 80s and the 90s, and you know, it just fall away because, you know, Vince McMahon said in TV wrestling is fake, and then the German were like, oh really, and they didn't really understand it. So
Uh,
my goal is to bring it back to German TV, and that the Germans start loving wrestling again so that I can have work for my boys and girls, for my brothers and sisters, basically. So
That's
that's like
incredible.
my big time goal, you know, and that's why I go so big. I could have started in a small city town hall, you know, like in
Mhm.
front of 50 people, but I'm the alpha female, you know, I go big.
Yeah, and you talked about how you really want to gear this towards the German audience
Hmm.
and how it will be on German TV and everything. But talk about going big. You're on Fight. Fight is everywhere, and that's that's so. It's something that I love, and I know obviously I work for Fight. I love Fight, but it's something that I love about Fight when
Hmm.
we're able to give these opportunities, these platforms for something like what you're
Hmm.
doing, and the fact that in the United States, in Pennsylvania, can be watching live what you're putting on in Germany is incredible. I mean, not to sit here and be shocked by technology in 2022, but it really is amazing, and it's an amazing opportunity because you're going to have talent on this show that they may feel like, hey, I'm working in front of 400, 500, 600, but whatever it ends up being. I don't know how
Hmm.
many you can hold in the venue, but even just the 400 friends you have coming over is a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the fact that they can know in the back of their minds while they're out there, there are people in parts of the world that I've never been that are watching me
Hmm.
right now
Hmm.
that are enjoying this. I think that's so exciting, and what a great
Hmm.
opportunity for the talent. I love the
Absolutely.
fact that you are just so, that seems to just be your real focus here, is just I want
Yeah,
to provide.
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And for the viewers who are not yet sure if they should buy it, I have like four cameras, and these cameras are really like, it's a professional camera team. I invested a lot in it, so it's not just a little, you know,
Yeah.
like main camera. It will be like all around, and yeah, you will have fun. Like,
Somebody who has a throne like the one you're sitting on isn't just showing up with a tiny little camcorder. So
right?
I think, clearly we can see from the setting that you like nice things. So
And, and,
um
and let's be honest, it can be everything, but it can be also absolutely nothing. Maybe I failed dramatically, but even then you want to watch it,
right.
right?
Everybody loves to watch something crash and burn. So it's a win-win. You have to go now. You have
Yeah,
to you have to order this on Fight,
absolutely.
because man, this is going to be good. But I think I'm really excited for this, and I think if anybody's watching this now, how could they not be excited for this? So again, I want to
Right.
remind everybody that it's going to be 11:30 a.m. Eastern time here in the U.S. What time will that be? When will you guys be doing that where you are?
At 5:30.
5:30.
5:30.
Okay.
So
So,
it's like 4:30 in the UK, but it's like Monday morning, like 1 a.m. or something in Japan. But you can watch it on demand, right? You don't have to
yep.
watch it live. You can watch it after anytime. But
That
live is, of course, much better.
live is great, and what this is a great way. February 20th, get your day started if you're here in the US. That's
Oh, and the commentary will be in English. It will be Katharina Waters and Al Snow. Katharina
uh,
Waters speaks German, so she can translate everything I'm saying, and then you understand everything.
so a fun fact to put myself over. I used to be a wrestler down in OVW, and I learned from Al Snow and was down there at the time that she was Katie Lee at the time
Yeah,
back then. Katie Lee Burchill, if you remember that.
of
But
course.
I knew her very well. So again, man, I mean, I know a lot of people are going to perk up right now to hear about her and Al Snow doing the commentary on this, and they obviously have a lot of great chemistry together as well. So that's even more exciting. So yeah, you have to check this out. Go right now if you haven't already. Well, go when this interview's done. It'll be done in a minute. So just then go and order it now. You don't want to miss this. February 20th, Sirius Sports Entertainment. It's going to be bringing you the Big Bang. That is the name of the event. Thank you so much. The alpha female, Jazzy, thank you so much for taking the time
Thank
to
you.
speak with me.
Thank you so much.
Anything else that you want to share before you go?
Ah,
Social media, where people can find you and
yeah,
stay up to date.
You can find me on Jazzy Gabert or Serious Wrestling or Serious Entertainment, And yeah, I hope that you guys are active on Twitter. Please let me know what you like, what you don't like. And yeah, let's create something great. And again, I say already, thank you so much for even watching this, for watching my show, and just, being on my journey. That means a lot.
You know what? It means a lot that you would take the time to be here with us. So we are excited for this again. February 20th. Do not miss Serious Sports Entertainment, The Big Bang, the first show here. The Alpha Female is going to be putting on an incredible night of, or I guess morning, of sports entertainment. Do not miss it. I'm Josh Shernoff. Jazzy, thank you so much for taking the time for being here with us on Fight and Focus. And we will see you all February 20th right here on Fight.